of day, beautiful people. Get this light. Happy Thursday, beautiful people. Jamia, shalom, shalom. Ema, set apart, grand rising. Jeremiah, David, you ready to rock and roll?
So you know how people were talking about the reptilian species?
Mm-hmm.
So
You know I'm live.
that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But so you do remember the dinosaurs, right?
Yes, Jeremiah, I do remember that.
You do remember the Anunnaki.
Yes, we read the whole Anunnaki Bible.
So
Mom, shalom, shalom. Shiru, hey girl, hey, global purpose, grand rising.
let me just short, but
Prince, shalom, shalom.
humans is literally a genetic combination. We have, I guess, the 7 hybrid species. And then another hybrid species. And the other currently existing base species.
Something like that.
And we're a living, walking peace treaty. And I guess we were a prophecy that was like, this is going to end wars of all wars because
I don't necessarily disagree with that, based on what I was studying last night. Okay.
Yeah.
Fritz, shalom. Anita, shalom, shalom. Greetings.
The reason why the reptilians don't like us because it's the only reason the Galactic Federation told the Anunnaki and the reptilians y'all need to leave this planet. The Anunnaki obliged willingly. They said, okay, cool. They went along with it. The reptilians didn't like that for the simple fact they said, no, we're not leaving this is our planet. They inhabited this earth way before humans. They were the original earth beings. They were here. They are the humanoid dinosaur evolution. That's what they are.
Okay.
We are the evolution of apes from our age.
Okay, listen, we'll have to finish having this conversation after this. Jeremiah?
Well, let me go.
Yeah, well, it's going to have to wait till after school, son. So, because this time I got set aside for this, not to have these conversations. Okay. All right, key greetings. All right, top of the day, beautiful people. And everybody else hanging out in the background that's been joined us this morning, top of the day. Y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed y'all day yesterday away from me. Yeah, it is Thursday, November the 10th, 2022, day 259 of year 4 of reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1278. We're picking back up in Oahspe in the book of Sethantes on page 15. And then once we get done with this today, we can hop back into the field guide to the spirit world. And we pause on page 58. All right, y'all. Father, we thank you that your intelligence is infinite. Hana grand rising. All right, y'all. 15. Did we not finish? Hold on. Did we? No, we finished the chapter, right? No, so this shouldn't be 15. This should be 16. Page 16, and we start in chapter 2. Hold on. Yeah. Right, yeah, chapter 2, okay, because I know we definitely didn't read this again. All right, y'all. Page 16 in Oahspe, chapter 2. When the hour was ended, God again ascended the throne, and the marshals raised the signals of order, and the archangels went and stood in a crescent in front of the throne. Etizia sat at the feet of God, and the splendor of her glory, unadorned, save with white and yellow drapery, shone through all the talents Jehovah had given her, the perfection of purity, wisdom, and love, the like of which only gods had looked on. God said, in thy name, O Jehovah, do I now found the session of thy kingdom in the lower heaven. As long as man and woman shall bring forth heirs unto thee, this kingdom shall not cease to glorify thee. Let the lords approach the throne. The Essenars now sang, and in the meantime the marshals and escorts conducted the lords before the throne. When they were in order, the music ceased, and God said, 5 great divisions of the earth there are, and I have ordained ye the 5 lords thereof in Jehovah's name, according to the number of inhabitants on the earth divisions, and your relative rank before heaven have I placed you. When ye have seated yourselves in your respective kingdoms, ye shall have each 12 messengers, whose duties shall be betwixt you and me. Choose ye therefore your messengers, even this hour, that ere the resurrection of the archangels, the resurrection of the archangels, they may be confirmed and their registry borne to heaven above. The Lord chose their messengers, and they were confirmed in the name of Jehovah. And the swift messengers who plied with the upper heavens made a record of their names and places. Thereupon God said to them, according to your talents have ye been chosen. According to your excellence will ye be promoted to wider fields of labor. May the wisdom, love, and power of Jehovah be with you all. Amen. And now Etizei signified that her time of departure had arrived. God came down from the judgment seat, and standing one moment in sorrow, reached forth and took Etizei's hand, saying, Arise, O daughter of Jehovah, and go thy way. Etizei rose up, pointing upward. She said, My house is in the ark of Wan. Jehovah dwelleth with thee and me. My swift messengers shall come to thee at times. My love will abide with thee and thy lords, and the harvest of thy resurrection. In Jehovah's name, farewell. Etizei then walked to the ship of fire, but ere she had entered, she turned and looked one more. She turned and took one more look at the host of Horeb, and then, stripping from the frames luminous drapery, cast it playfully over the Essenars and quickly disappeared in the light. The Essenars chanted, and a host of archangels joined in with them, and in that same moment of time, the ship began to rise, and it was as thousands of columns of fire surrounding one majestic column, and the whole circle rising in spiral form, turning and rising, rising and turning. And when it was a little way up, it seemed like an ascending sun, and then higher and higher, like a far off star. And then it passed beyond the vision of the angels of Horeb. When order was proclaimed, the all light began to gather around about the throne, covering over God and the lords. Jehovah, through God, said, Hear ye, for I abide also with these my lords of the hosts of heaven. The lords said, What shall we do? And Jehovah answered, Summon all the angels to pass before the throne of God, one by one, that I may judge them. For as many as dwell on any of my corporal worlds of the fifth, let me read it again. The Lords said, What shall we do? And Jehovah answered, Summon all the angels to pass before the throne of God, one by one, that I may judge them. For as many as dwell on any of my corporal worlds of the fifth, of the second rate, shall abide in the kingdom of Horeb, and their labor shall be with Esians only. But all of the full of the first rate shall abide in the kingdoms of my lords, and their labor shall be with corporans. So after of the fifth of the second rate, this reference letter B. Let me mark this. I don't have this marked. I wonder if I read it the first time. I probably did. Or if I went to C, I realized that I skipped B and went back to it. Okay, so let's go to page 37. And on page 37, second rate is B, and it says, the fifth of the second rate means and 3/5 years old. The full of the first rate is infants under 2 3/5 years, who, maturing in heaven, remember nothing of their corporal lives. Okay, let me read it again. The fifth of the second rate means 2 3/5 years old. The full of the first rate is infants under 2 3/5 years, who, maturing in heaven, remember nothing of their corporal lives. 1882 edition. Okay. Kevin, shalom. Belinda Brown, hey, auntie. Bennett, Grand Rising. Okay. What?
Are you doing anything today?
Yes. Wow, what you need? Oh, no, you can't take my truck. Go talk to your daddy. Take your daddy's truck. We're on page 16, verse 16. The marshals then arranged the angels, and they passed in front of the throne. And so great was God's wisdom that, in looking on the angels as they passed, he perceived the rates of every man and woman, and those destined for labor in atmosphere only he caused to turn one way, and those for the earth as ministering spirits with mortals to turn the other way. And when they had all passed, they were correctly divided according to Jehovah's commandment. God said, "Hear me, O ye lords. Take your laborers and repair to your respective places on the divisions of the earth and the waters of the earth, and ye shall be lords with me, your God, for the glory of Jehovah. Whatsoever ye do on earth, will I ratify in heaven. Whomsoever ye deliver from the earth, will I receive in heaven. As ye shape and build up mortal man, delivering his spirit into my kingdom, so will I receive him and award him. That your kingdoms may accord with me and mine, I give you messengers sufficient, and they shall pass daily betwixt us according to their proficiency and power, to pass from place to place. So have I chosen them. Let a record be kept within your own kingdoms, and these records shall be your own, to be carried upward with you in the next resurrection. And yet ye shall have a record jointly with me, separate from your own record, pertaining to your kingdom's relations with mine. When mortals die and are born in spirit, ye shall receive them and enter them into your records as Ezians, signifying newborn in heaven. When mortals die and are born in spirit, ye shall receive them and enter them in your records as Ezians, signifying newborn in heaven. And for these Ezians ye shall provide temporary abodes, where they shall tarry some for a few days, and some for a space of 1 year or more. Of their numbers and conditions ye shall inform me through the messengers, and I will send ships to bring them to my kingdom. Ye shall appoint Asaphs, whose office it shall be to receive Ezians from the Ashars. Ashars would be our guardian angels here with us, right? Elijah, peace, bronze, yogi, shalom, animalistic nature, shalom. Verse 23, page 16. Let me go back to 22. Ye shall appoint Asaphs, whose office it shall be to receive Ezians from the Ashars. Whilst a mortal is alive on the earth, the Ashars shall abide with him, guarding him in the name of the Lord and in my name. But when he dieth, the Ashar shall deliver the Ezian to the Asaph, saying, in Jehovah's name, receive thou this newborn spirit. He was my protege, for the good or evil in him charge thou to me. And the Ashar shall deliver up a record of the mortal life of the Ezian, and the record shall be kept within your own kingdoms. And the Asaph shall take the Ezian, saying, in Jehovah's name, receive I this newborn spirit. He shall be my protege according to the commandments of the Lord my God. Jeremiah, turn it down some, please. He shall then take the Ezian to the place to receive it, where it will have nurses. Boy, what is you doing? Where your headphones? On your head, but the sound is not going in your ears. Oh, well, if you're going to do that, you need to go upstairs or go to another place where it's quiet. Well, it can be quiet in here. Verse 24. And the Asaph shall take the Ezian, saying, in Jehovah's name, receive I this newborn spirit. He shall be my protege according to the commandments of the Lord my God. He shall then take the Ezian to the place to receive it, where it will have nurses and attendants according to its requirements. When the ships come to your kingdoms, the Asaph shall deliver the Ezians they have received, and my officers shall receive them and bring them to my place in heaven. When God had ended the instructions to the Lords answered, saying, We will be thy lords, O God, doing thy commandments for the glory of Jehovah our Father. God said, to each of you have I given great division of the to each of you have I given a great division of the earth, and each division shall be named after you, each in its place. Verse 28. This then was the rank assigned, Waga, and after Waga is Pan, and after Waga is reference number 2, and 2 at the bottom says, the 1882 edition used the name Waga without the H. Up here in the paragraph is W-H-A-G-A. Down here in the footnote, it says the 1882 edition used the name Waga, W-A-G-A, or Waga, W-A-G-G-A, while the 1891 edition named it Waga, W-H-A-G-A, consistently. All subsequent similar changes are not footnoted. Okay, go back up to verse 28. This then was the rank assigned, Waga, Pan, Jude, Asia, Thori, America, Vohu, Africa, and D-I-S, Europe. And also, we know another name for America is Gautama, right? Okay. And the lands were called after the names of the lords, and so entered in the books of heaven in Horeb by command of God in the name of Jehovah. And the record of the great serpent showed the firmament in Timyi in the third circuit of Savorcum and Dan-ha 24. And after Savorcum is reference letter C. Hop back to page 37. And C says, this verse has been the source of an interpretive debate. Prior editors seem to have believed that this verse meant that there had been nearly 3 Savorcums to the solar system's existence, which, based on the years estimated for a complete subgalactic orbit, would mean that the Earth's age would have been 13,172,000 years, according to the 1882 editor, or 9,470 years, according to the 1891 editor. The editors of this edition are convinced that the prior editors were wrong in both fact and interpretation. Eloh's Communications and Council have indicated, as a gardener allows a seed to germinate before actively cultivating it, so do the Etherian hosts allow new planetary systems to germinate on their own without interference during their formative years. While the planet is monitored and data is recorded during this phase, these files remain separate and distinct from any records pertaining to the planet's Etherian administration that will eventually follow. When the planet's environment is nearly ready to support human life, the Etherian administrators will begin a Savorcum or 2 beforehand to actively oversee the planet's development and to cultivate its environment. In the case of the Earth, formal Etherian administrative efforts began nearly 3 Savorcums past, or a little less than 13.5 million years prior, close to the figure of the 1882 editor. Consequently, since formal oversight means formal record keeping, the verse reads, quote, the record showed the firmament in the third circuit, end quote, of recorded history under Etherian administration, not its overall existence as a planet. Oahspe does not provide the complete recorded history, but only events during the current sum. The age of the Earth is actually about what current geological estimates have projected it to be, i.e., about 4.5 billion years old, or about 350 times older than the prior editor's estimates, based on an erroneous assumption. All right, Mahalia, Shalom, Grand Rising. Okay, go back to page 17. And we'll go back to verse 27. Okay. God said, to each of you have I given a great division of the earth. Each division shall be named after you, each in its place. This then was the rank assigned. Waga, which is Pan, Jude, J-U-D, which is Asia, Thori, which is America, also called Gautama, as we go through and you'll see, Vohu, Africa, and Dis, Europe. And the lands were called after the names of the lords, and so entered into the books of heaven and Horeb by command of God in the name of Jehovah. And the record of the great serpent showed the firmament of Timyi in the third circuit of Sovorkum and Danha, 24. When all was finished, the lords came and sat down at the foot of the throne, and the Essenars chanted a hymn of praise to Jehovah, and the entire multitude joined therein. When the hymn was ended, God rose up, standing amidst a sea of light, and raising up both hands, said, O Jehovah, almighty and everlasting, help thy servants in founding this kingdom for thy glory, peace, wisdom, and power. Then making the sign of Jehovah's name with his right hand, he came down to the foot of the throne, and taking the hand of Waga, Lord of Waga, he said, Arise, my son, and go thy way, and Jehovah will bless thee. Waga rose up and stood aside, and then in like manner God raised the other four lords, and they stood aside also. The marshals filed past the throne, saluting, and after them the lords, saluting also, and after them came the Asaphs, and lastly the Ashars, and the procession was underway, passing off between the pillars of fire, with which God's laborers had ornamented Horeb around about. This was the beginning of the first kingdom in the lower heaven, and the first of the reign of the lords on earth. Okay, we're going to read this next chapter. We had 21 minutes, so it should take us to our time when we need to switch. All right, page 17, chapter 3, book of Sethantes, son of Jehovah. And God appointed in heaven angel surveyors to survey the earth and atmosphere, and astronomers to note the place of the stars, and enumerators to number the inhabitants of the earth and atmosphere, to grade them and apportion their places, and nurses and physicians to receive the Esians and administer unto them, and builders of heavenly mansions, and weavers of fabrics for covering the newborn, the Esians. Hold on, let me go back. Let me read this whole long sentence again. Oh my gosh, I messed it up. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Hold on. I didn't see that. It said it. Elijah said, this links with the lesson, cause my cow dropped about pan. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. I've been missing some videos over the last few days, y'all. I gotta get caught up. Okay, let's go back to the beginning of the chapter. And God appointed in heaven angel surveyors to survey the earth and atmosphere, and astronomers to note the place of the stars, and enumerators to number the inhabitants of the earth and atmosphere, to grade them and apportion their places, and nurses and physicians to receive the Esians and minister unto them, and builders of heavenly mansions, and weavers of fabrics for covering the newborn, the Esians, and builders of heavenly ships for carrying the inhabitants from place to place. And God appointed unto all of these officers and teachers according to grade appointed he them. According to grade appointed he them. And when God had completed his appointments, the people were apportioned in heaven, every one to his place, to begin the work allotted to them. And God called the Asaphs, and he said unto them, Go ye down to the earth, and bring to me the first fruit of the first resurrection. And the Asaphs said, This will is our will. But what meanest thou by the first fruit of the first resurrection? God said, The spirits of the dead. The Asaphs said, The spirits of the dead, who are they? God said, When a corporean cometh forth out of his corporal body, this shall be called death. The Asaphs said, Who then are the spirits of death? And God answered them, saying, O that ye died in infancy, how can ye learn corporal things? Go ye then to my Lord Waga, and he will show you. The Asaphs departed and went down to the earth, and the Lord, through the Ashars, delivered unto the Asaphs 500 Esians, and they brought them to Horeb before the throne of God. And God said unto them, Who are these? The Asaphs said, These are the first fruit of the first resurrection. Behold, we know now the beginning and the end of corporality. The earth body of these Esians was but a womb from which they are now delivered. How did I miss this the first time we read this? Look, I always say this, right? Like, we're in multiple wombs right now. Like, our body, our flesh is a womb for our spirit. And when we die, we're really born, right? And the flesh, or this womb, gives up the actual spirit, which is truly the Son, right? The spirit of Yah, spirit, the spirit of our Creator spirit, right? We're born into multiple wombs and delivered from multiple wombs, right? We come into our mother's womb, and then we're birthed and delivered from that womb. And then we're born, given another womb to actually cover our real self, our spirit. And then when we die, we actually give birth into the next world, and we deliver up the real us, right? So there's different cycles we got to go through as we develop. This is so good. Let me go back. Let me go back up to verse 7. Thanks, Shebrew. I sent you all of them already, Pam. Swift Messenger, hit your inbox. Thank you, Shebrew. Swift Messenger. Thank you. Okay. Go back up to verse 7. The Asaph said, who then are the spirits of death? And God answered them, saying, oh, that ye died in infancy, how can ye learn corporal things? Go ye then to my Lord Waga, and he will show you. The Asaphs departed and went down to the earth, and the Lord, through the Ashars, delivered unto the Asaphs 500 Esians, and they brought them to Horeb before the throne of God. And God said unto them, who are these? The Asaphs said, these are the first fruit of the first resurrection. Behold, we know now the beginning and end of corporality. The earth body of these Esians was but a womb from which they are now delivered. God said, well done. Take ye these Esians and feed and clothe them, for this is your labor. The Asaphs answered, alas, we have tried them with all manner of food on which we ourselves subsist, but they will not eat. God said, alas, O ye innocents, ye feed on ethereal food. These Esians must have atmospheric food, even as corporeans subsist on corporal food. Go then, fulfill this first resurrection, for as much as ye deliver them, so will ye be delivered in time to come. The Asaphs then departed, taking the Esians with them, but in course of time they returned again to God, saying, behold, O God, we have gathered of the atmosphere of the trees of all kinds, of the seeds and plants, of the seeds and plants that grow on the earth, all most beautiful to our senses and savory to the smell. And we gave these to the Esians, but lo, they will not eat. Being alarmed, we again hastened to thee for information. God said, O ye of little wisdom, knowing so much of heaven and so little of earth. So remember, these Asaphs, if I remember correctly, these Asaphs, they didn't actually get the opportunity to be born on earth. They died. I believe they either died in the womb or in infancy, at a point where they didn't get to experience any of the stuff that we experience when we have our flesh, right? If y'all haven't seen that movie Souls yet, the Disney Pixar movie, is animated. Jamie Foxx is the voice of the dude, the piano teacher. Y'all have to go watch that, because a lot of this stuff is in there in bits and pieces if you would pay attention. Okay. Verse 15. God said, O ye of little wisdom, knowing so much of heaven and so little of earth, go ye back to the place whence ye bought these Esians, and learn what manner of food they subsisted on. The Asaphs went back with all haste to learn in reference to the food, and in due time they came again before God, saluting, saying, what shall we do, O God? Behold, these Esians, while in the corporal form, feasted on fish and worms. How can we bring them the atmospheric part of these things? God said, even the last time ye were present, Ye said ye had gathered of the atmospheric part of trees and seeds and plants growing out on the earth. Why then cannot ye gather of the atmospheric part of fish and worms? The Asaph said, Alas, this difference have we observed. The trees and plants and fruits emit delightful atmospheres, most nutritious to the spirit, but that which is emitted from the living fish and living worms is foul-smelling, being but the sweat and dead substance evaporating. What then shall we do? God said, Go ye to the place where mortals kill fish and worms, and in the same time that mortals tear these things with their teeth. God said, Go ye to the place where mortals kill fish and worms, and in the same time that mortals tear these things with their teeth, snatch from their hands and mouths the atmospheric parts of the food, and give it to these Esians. Remember also that little by little ye shall teach them to live on other kinds of food. And as ye do by these Esians, do ye also in after time to others, remembering that what men subsist on in corporal life is entailed on them in spirit for a space of time after entering atmosphere, and of like substance shall they be fed spiritually. The Asaphs then departed. So by the time we roll up out of here, people, we want to be like fully plant-based, so we don't have to hang low close to the earth, right? Because that's the only way you're going to get fed. And that's the only place that's happening, where they're ripping and tearing flesh that's full of worms, blood, all of that. And it stinketh, right? And it's going to stinketh up your spirit. Listen. So by the time you pass up out of here, right, when you were really born, you would have wanted to have fully converted your body into a plant-based consuming machine, right? So that way all the beautiful smells and scents from things that are high in the sky, like trees and fruits that grow on things that are high, closer to the Creator, we want that to be easy for our Asaphs, right? Go ahead, whatever, apples, oranges, nuts, berries, juices, whatever. I'm good with all that, okay? God said, Go ye to the place where mortals kill fish and worms, and in the same time that mortals tear these things with their teeth, snatch from their hands and mouths the atmospheric parts of the foods, and give it to these Esians. Remember also that little by little ye shall teach them to live on other kinds of foods. And as ye do by these Esians, do ye also in after time to others, remembering that what men subsist on in corporal life or fleshly life, or while you still got this flesh body, remembering that what men subsist on in corporal life is entailed on them in spirit for a space of time after entering atmosphere. And of like substance shall they be fed spiritually. The Asaphs then departed. On the third day thereafter, as above mentioned, the voice of Jehovah came to God, saying, My son, behold what the Asaphs have done in thy name thoughtlessly. They came to the fishery and did as thou badest, gathering food for the Esians, and at their side stood by the Esians, saying, Why gather ye food for us? Behold, we are now strong in spirit. Suffer us to gather for ourselves. And the Asaph said, It seemeth well, do as ye desire. Thereupon the Esians went to the fishermen and the fisherwomen who were eating raw flesh. The fishermen, they was eating sushi. All you sushi lovers. That's the quickest way to get worms. If you didn't know, I'm just saying. Look. Kevin, you funny. Hold on. Verse 23, page 18. My son, behold what the Asaphs have done in thy name thoughtlessly. They came to the fishery and did as thou badest, gathering food for the Esians, and at their side stood the Esians, saying, Why gather ye food for us? Behold, we are now strong in spirit. Suffer us to gather for ourselves. And the Asaph said, It seemeth well, do as ye desire. Thereupon the Ezians went to the fishermen and fisherwomen who were eating raw flesh, and the Ezians laid hold on the atmosphere part, and ate thereof a sufficiency. And then the Asaphs said to them, Ye have feasted sufficiently, come ye away with us. But lo, the Ezians engrafted themselves on the fishermen and the fisherwomen and would not depart. See, the Asaphs, what is y'all doing? You see, y'all should have followed directions and gathered up the food for them, not let them go down there and get it, because they weren't strong enough yet. They hadn't already been weaned off this stuff. So now we got demon-possessed people. Listen, this is what happens when they engraft themselves on you. People start acting crazy. Thereupon the Ezians went to the fishermen and fisherwomen who were eating raw flesh, and the Ezians laid hold on the atmosphere part, and ate thereof a sufficiency. And then the Asaphs said to them, Ye have feasted sufficiently, come ye away with us. But lo, the Ezians engrafted themselves on the fishermen and fisherwomen, and would not depart. The Asaphs, not knowing what to do, called on my name. Send thou, O God, quickly to them, those skilled in deliverance, that my Ezians be preserved unto everlasting life. And God summoned those skilled in deliverance of engraftment, and dispatched them hastily with messengers to the place of the fisheries. Jehovah said, From the trees, the fruits, the flowers, the grains and seeds, and roots that grow in the ground, have I created a ceaseless harvest going upward into the atmosphere, which shall be the sustenance of the spirits of men newborn in heaven. But whoever feasted on flesh on earth shall not find spiritual food in heaven, but he shall return to the butcheries and eating houses where flesh is eaten, and he shall feast on the atmosphere and part thereof before it is rotten. Be ye guarded of them, lest they engraft themselves on mortals, feasting on their feast, and so go down in destruction. Right there, it should bring your attention back to the scriptures and all of the priesthood and what they was doing. And explain to me why blood and guts and flesh is a sweet smelling savor in the nostrils of said God of Israel. I'm just saying. Let me just read it again. That's just a question that popped in my mind. Let me just go back. Let's go all the way back for a minute, because we're almost done. It's 36 verses. Go back just in case you missed it. I know some people probably dozed out. It's real early in the morning. Let me read it again. Listen. Verse 22. No. Verse 20. No. Verse 20. Yeah. God said, Go ye to the place where mortals kill fish and worms, and at the same time that mortals tear these things with their teeth, snatch from their hands and mouths the atmospheric part of the food, and give it to these Ezians. So remember, just in case you came in late, these Ezians are these newborn spirits of the dead, people who had just died, right? They was trying to feed them from the smells and the sweet smelling incense of the trees and the fruits and all that stuff, right? The good stuff, the plant-based stuff. They refused to eat. And so their Asaphs, they was like, listen, we can't get these babies to eat. What is we going to do? He said, okay, you need to go observe. What were they doing before they died? Before they were born here, what were they eating? Because for a space of time, they're going to still need to subsist on whatever it was that they were eating, except this time, not the actual flesh part of it. It's going to be the atmosphere and the smells of it, right? Y'all know how you're cooking. That's the atmosphere portion of the food. Ooh, it smells so good, right? But now, I kid you not, cooking meat smells like rotten flesh to me. There was a time a few months ago where my whole senses clicked over and it literally makes me want to puke, right? And being plant-based for a while, that will tend to kick in for you, right? I'm not exactly sure when, but it's been kicked in for me a few months ago, right? Listen. So this is why they trying to figure out what they're going to eat. Verse 20, page 18, God said, Go ye to the place where mortals kill fish and worms, and in the same time that mortals tear these things with their teeth, snatched from their hands and mouths the atmospheric portion of the food, or the sweet-smelling savors, the savors or the smells, the smell goods, right? Snatch from their hands and mouths the atmosphere and parts of the food, and give it to these Ezians. Remember also that little by little ye shall teach them to live on other kinds of food. And as ye do by these Ezians, do ye also in after time to others, remembering that what men subsist on in corporal life is entailed on them in spirit for a space of time after entering atmosphere, or after dying here. And of like substance shall they be fed spiritually. The Asaphs then departed. On the third day thereafter, as above mentioned, the voice of Jehovah came to God, saying, My son, behold what the Asaphs have done in thy name thoughtlessly. They came to the fishery and did as thou badest, gathering food for the Ezians, and at their side stood the Ezians, saying, Why gather ye food for us? Behold, we are now strong in spirit. Suffer us to gather for ourselves. And the Asaphs said, It seemeth well, do as ye desire. This is Jehovah speaking to God on the throne, who sent the Asaphs out. He said, listen, let me show you what they did thoughtlessly. Because remember, God is still in training too, right? He has way more skill than everybody else, but he's still learning as he learns how to rule the earth and the heavens. So God on the throne is not perfect compared to us, but still learning, right? Things that we'll completely miss until we become spiritual, still learning how to move and operate these things, learning how to run a household like mom and daddy run a household, like when you leave your teenagers in charge with a bunch of siblings, right? They're trying to get the bearings down and rule like you rule appropriately. Listen. Verse 22, on the third day thereafter, as mentioned above, the voice of Jehovah came to God, saying, My son, behold what the Asaphs have done in thy name thoughtlessly. They came to the fishery and did as thou badest, gathering food for the Ezians. And at their side stood the Ezians, saying, Why gather ye food for us? Behold, we are now strong in spirit. Suffer us to gather for ourselves. And the Asaphs said, It seemeth well, do as ye desire. Thereupon the Ezians went to the fishermen and fisherwomen who were eating raw flesh, and the Ezians laid hold on the atmospheric part and ate thereof a sufficiency. And then the Asaphs said to them, Ye have feasted sufficiently, come ye away with us. But lo, the Ezians engrafted themselves on the fishermen and fisherwomen and would not depart. The Asaphs, not knowing what to do, called on my name. Send thou, O God, quickly to them, those skilled in deliverance, that my Ezians be preserved unto everlasting life. And God summoned those skilled in deliverance of engraftment. Hold on, I just got what it said. He said, and they did all this foolishness, and the Asaphs called on me, which is now why I'm coming to you to let you know what happened. Get out there and save my babies. They all, just get out there. Send the most skilled ones out there. Pay attention, God. Pay attention. Hold on. Verse 26, and God summoned those skilled in deliverance of engraftment and dispatched them hastily with messengers to the place of the fisheries. Jehovah said, From the trees, the fruits, the flowers, the grains and seeds, and roots that grow in the ground have I created a ceaseless harvest going upward into the atmosphere, which shall be the sustenance of the spirits of men newborn in heaven. But whosoever feasted on flesh on earth shall not find spiritual food in heaven, but he shall return to the butcheries and eating houses where flesh is eaten, and he shall feast on the atmospheric part thereof before it is rotten. Be ye guarded of them, lest they engraft themselves on mortals, feeding on their feast, and so go down to destruction. Look like some of these Ezians then got away from these Asaphs, because they people walking around here looking crazy and grafted upon and such. Got a few in my family. Listen, after many days, the Asaphs came before God, saying, The physicians severed such as were bound, and we brought them away. Shall this be our labor day and night, to lead these Ezians about? finding them clothes and food. This have we observed. The more we do for them, the less they do for themselves. Jehovah spake through God, saying, a nurse I provided for the newborn, but when he is grown, I command him to provide for himself, that he may be a glory in my kingdoms. By charity alone you cannot raise man up, but be diligent to teach him By charity alone ye cannot raise man up, but be diligent to teach him to try continually to raise himself, for herein lieth the glory of manhood, right? We learned about this going through it, gives it in more detail. Oh yeah, they was complaining a little bit, Shebrew, right? It's like, we're gonna keep having to feed them and clothe them. Creator came in, he said, no. Whether it's same thing. We learn it here, right? Now we just gonna be doing it when we get there, when we're born into the real world, so to speak, right? We got to do it for babies here. But what happens is, if you ever pay attention to babies as they get a little bit older and they begin to learn how to crawl and walk, and they're sitting up by themselves, when it's time to eat, they want to start feeding themselves, right? Give them a spoon instead of feeding them, because sometimes they will pitch a fit if you try and feed them. They want, especially like my grandbabies here on Saturdays. Well, y'all probably won't see it for a while now because I got to be out of here. And this Saturday, y'all, is my mandatory in class time. So this Saturday we will be starting at 6:15. But babies, when they get to a certain age, they want to start doing for themselves, right? And Bella went shucks. When Bella was, before she turned 2, she wanted to get her own self dressed. So this is like a natural growth that the Father has put inside of all of us. When we become of age and we see models around us, we want to start to try and mimic them. Now, they may dress themselves crazy. They're going to get the food everywhere, but that's okay. That's the process of growth. They're trying, they're learning. They're going to get it together. They're coloring all outside of the lines as they get more control of their motor skills, hand-eye coordination. They learn how to stay in the lines. And pretty soon, they'll be able to drive on the road because they didn't learn how to stay and color within the lines, right? It should be a natural progression, always progressing, right? Listen. But if you keep doing for people, you're going to have to keep doing for people, right? They become lazy bums. I ain't gonna say most of them. Most people won't, but there are some people that's gonna try and take advantage of the system, whether it's the state system or a family system, or whether you're trying to help a friend. They gonna suck as much as you allow them to suck from you, and it never ends up well for either party. Nini Shalom says. So listen. Verse 29, page 18. Jehovah spake through God, saying, a nurse I provided for the newborn, but when he is grown, I command him to provide for himself, that he may be a glory in my kingdoms. By charity alone ye cannot raise man up, but be diligent to teach him to try continually to raise himself, for herein lieth the glory of manhood. The Asaph said, if we leave the Ezians alone, they will return again to the fisheries and fasten themselves upon mortals, doing nothing but eating. God said, near the fisheries, but in atmosphere, go ye and fashion a colony, and it shall be your colony in heaven. Thither take these Ezians, not showing them the way to the fisheries. In the colony, put ye them to work, weaving and making clothes, and likewise producing. But go ye for the food at the fisheries, and bring sufficient every day, giving only to them who labor, or to invalids and helpless ones. By this ye shall inspire them to labor, which is the foundation of the growth of the Spirit. And in course of time, they will not only care for themselves, but join ye in helping others, which is the beginning of the second resurrection. Let me tell you something. This works beautifully here, especially if you got a whole host or a gaggle of children. I put this into play quite some time ago, right? Because my children, even Bella is the youngest of mine, but the grandbabies, they go back down in the lower numbers. They like Juges running through this house. Listen, so my grandbabies, the youngest one is 2, then Jackson is 3, and Jace just turned 6 too. So Bella and Jace is the same age. But them at this age, you can inspire them to clean, right? Oh, and Jeremiah be complaining, Mom, can't you just go in it? You know what? I said, don't you touch it. They gonna do it. He said, it's looking a mess. I said, I know it is. I said, but dinner time is coming. He said, what? I said, just watch. Right? This is like the first couple times. He said, oh my gosh. And Jeremiah, as he become older, he's a neat freak. Right? He's like this neat freak, like I was a neat freak. In my room, like growing up when I became a teenager, I had to have all my hangers spaced just right apart. Everything, the perfume on the dress, I had to see all the labels. I would dust my stuff. Everything had to be in perfect order. And I could tell if somebody came in my room messing with stuff. My sisters would get a kick out of coming in my room while I was going to school, because I would get home a little bit later. They would get a kick out of going in my room, taking everything on my dresser, turning it all around backwards, and then going to my closet, taking my stuff off and hooking it on backwards. I could walk into my room and feel the atmosphere was off, like, oh, what is going on in here? Something, I don't know what has been touched, but clearly something has been touched. And so I'm going through looking at my bed, looking under my bed and stuff. And then it's like the energy draws me to the dresser, and I go to the dresser like, what in the world is going? Where are my labels? Who? Mom! What? Oh, they get on my nerves. Right? Listen. So what happens is, when children won't clean up, now the younger ones, this doesn't work too well just yet because they just gonna make bigger messes. But when they get about age, I'd even say 4, right? About the age of 4, maybe a little younger than that, depending on how fast your children progress, right? By the age of 4, they don't want to clean up. Oh, okay. Well, we want to inspire you to help this family out in the cleaning duties, right? So we'll wait till dinner time. Oh, ain't nobody, listen, and you don't let one child eat. You get everybody helping one another. It's like they doing boot camp. One person get in trouble, the whole division get in trouble. You got to do push-ups, we all gonna do push-ups. Y'all seen Full Metal Jacket? I brought it up before. Dude, they kept messing up. The whole division gets in trouble till they beat them with the sock, with the soap in it, right? So you employ all the other children in the house with you use the weakest link. And I ain't gonna say you get everybody in trouble according to what the younger one was doing, but in regards to cleaning the house, right? Ain't nobody gonna eat till everybody's room is clean unto my liking. And what they're gonna start doing when the older ones are done, hurry up, man, come on. Bella, you need some help, come on. Y'all, let's help her, because we hungry, right? And so now they learn how to work together, one with another, teaching her how to do this. Because I'm tired of going up in there, listen, I done cleaned up y'all rooms long enough, right? You're gonna do it yourselves. And so that's how you implement that. Like, I mean, y'all already know that, but just in case you did it, this is what this is teaching you. Verse 29, we gotta hurry up. Verse 29, page 18. Jehovah spake through God, saying, a nurse I provide for the newborn, but when he is grown, I command him to provide for himself, that he may be a glory in my kingdoms. By charity alone ye cannot raise man up, but be diligent to teach him to try continually to raise himself. For herein lieth the glory of manhood, right? And you become strong. You don't become a lazy bum where other people got to take care of you and you think it's cool that women are taking care of men, or vice versa, right? You can't have a man taking care of a lazy woman. Like, we're going to have like this give and take. You know, if I'm going to work, you clean the house, then make sure this house is ran ship shape, right? Make sure the kids, all this stuff, make sure they learn all this, make sure the house, right? You know, y'all get it, right? Some people like, oh, well, no, we both need to clean. House and never. Whatever works for your family dynamic. But y'all get the point of what I'm trying to say. Sometimes it's opposite. Where the woman goes out and work and the man is there. And I've seen some men do a better job than women cleaning the house. You know, I'm just saying. Jehovah spake through God, saying, a nurse I provided for the newborn, but when he is grown, I command him to provide for himself, that he may be a glory in my kingdoms. By charity alone you cannot raise man up, but be diligent to teach him to try to continually to raise himself. For herein lieth the glory of manhood. The Asaph said, if we leave the Ezians alone, they will return again to the fisheries and fasten themselves upon mortals, doing nothing but eating. God said, near the fisheries, but in atmosphere, go ye and fashion a colony, and it shall be your colony in heaven. Thither take these Ezians, not showing them the way to the fisheries. in the colony, put ye them to work, weaving and making clothes, and otherwise producing. But go ye for the food at the fisheries, and bring sufficient every day, giving only to them who labor, or to invalids and helpless ones. By this ye shall inspire them to labor, which is the foundation of the growth of the Spirit. And in course of time, they will not only care for themselves, but join ye in helping others, which is the beginning of the second resurrection. Like my older sons, they get done cleaning, they all go in there and they'll help Bella. Zay, not so much. He gonna stand there and pout like, I ain't do this. I ain't helping her. Like, he the one that he came out of the womb fighting, right? So he's still a work in progress, like we all are. Jeremiah back there laughing. Yeah, he know. By this ye shall inspire them to labor, which is the foundation of the growth of the Spirit. And in course of time, they will not only care for themselves, but join ye in helping others, which is the beginning of the second resurrection. Behold, this lesson have ye learned, that according to the diet and the habit of mortals on earth, so must ye provide their spirits when first entered in heaven. Choose ye therefore of your own people a sufficient number to make all things required in a delightful colony, whether it be food and clothing, or nurseries, or hospitals, or place of worship, or place of dancing. And receive ye as many Ezians as be delivered from the earth, raising them up in industry, virtue, wisdom, mirth, love, benevolence, and adoration. And this shall be a new heaven unto you all. Ye are my chosen, and an example colony of all the kingdoms I shall build in my heaven. The time cometh when the whole atmosphere around about the earth shall be filled with countless millions of angels born out of the earth, right? So when we die, we literally, like people say, oh, she done gained her wings, she earned her wings. Technically, that's true. Not that you will actually have wings sprouting out your back, but we get what you're saying. And technically, there's a lot of truth to that. If we would have had Oahspe, it would have been really clear, or something like that gives the same truths that Oahspe shares. We'd be a lot further spiritually than what the world currently is now. Verse 35, be swift in your labor. The people spring up from the earth rapidly into heaven, and every colony ye now found shall in time to come be a great kingdom, requiring experienced workmen. Whosoever laboreth most efficiently for Jehovah, him will I promote to wider fields. Ye are as one of the cornerstones of Sethantes, and his house shall embrace atmosphere and the whole earth. Words are already taking root in the mouths of mortals, and for tens of thousands of years will war reign. Might against might, darkness against darkness. Hundreds of millions will be slain in wars on the earth, and their souls be thrown into chaos. Even as ye beheld these spirits fastening on to mortals for food, so will spirits in chaos, millions of them, fasten themselves on the battlefield, still battling, or fasten themselves on mortals, obsessing them to madness and death. Yeah, and that, my beautiful people, is where we pause at today here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what more?
Yes. I have to start doing this with this.
You know how back then,
right here. Okay.
You know, remember when people say, "Oh, we're gonna get superpowers," and like they were trying to actually act like they were Superman someday.
I remember that. Yeah, because I woke up low key trying to see if I could lift the house.
So basically, they were onto something, but they were just a little too late. They were just a little too late.
No, so something happened spiritually. There was like another level of awakening spiritually to who and what we really are, and what Creator created us to be and develop.
When Space Force got founded, and people,
the United States they didn't create. Y'all already know. I'm just like, this blows me away. They've actually created. They call us crazy, but they actually created a space force, which speaks tremendously about what the government really believes and how they prepare for, like, y'all gonna start a space force? Okay. So y'all, why y'all calling people crazy? Y'all the one out here and founded a space force to talk to other intelligences.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna get into that right now because I don't know the code words. They can cut me off.
Well,
I got one more strike up here.
For some reason, the people that's come out about truth, they're just magically disappearing. People that's when Space Force came out.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say magically disappearing for, purposes. But, yeah.
Page 58, y'all. Okay, we'll talk about that. Okay, so y'all, we still in chapter 3, entitled "The Black Dog Unleashed," right? So the Black Dog Unleashed, the title is referring to a lot of these are referring to like suicide, the Black Dog Unleashed. A lot of these problems that started when people got engrafted upon, like Oahspe calls it, disembodied souls engraft themselves on mortals. This is what this chapter is talking about, and when they're literally just like going haywire, right? And the spirits want to get out. They obsess mortals to do things that they would not do in their right mind. They're literally the spirit is like completely unleashed, and all manner of horrible things happen. They obsess mortals to do wicked things that, y'all, we just gonna finish going through the chapter, right? Okay, so we pause on page 58.
There are ones that's out here that don't like us.
Page 58. We know. And those are the lower level. We call them Druges and Druhas and stuff, right? They have gone so far down to where they don't even remember that they were one time humans, and they are completely debased, and it's nothing but darkness around them.
Yeah, they literally have some type of grudge against humans that's kind of unknown. And it's just a big giant.
What you say? 76? Hold on, who was on 76? No. We did. We went to page 76. Okay, so remember, I was like, wait a minute, hold on. We did jump ahead to 76, Vanette, remember? But we was all the way back here on page where it told us, because it told us to jump up to look at the PTSD, and we went ahead. That was one of these. Hit risk in jail. I forget exactly where in here, but it told us to read the portion of conversation about PTSD. As I said, pause right here and let's jump ahead. And we found it, which that started on page 76. Yeah, because I was giving a story about my Marine uncle when him coming back after being in Iraq and stuff. Yeah, so we jumped ahead and we read through that, which was a lot. And by the time we got done, that was the end. So I said, when we come back, we're going to go back to page 58, right? So we literally, the PTSD is like almost the last half of this chapter, but we're going to read it again. And we're going to, but it told us to jump ahead just to see. So, all right. So they wanted you to get a real good understanding ahead of time about the PTSD. Okay, so page 58. And at the second paragraph on 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth line from the top, where it says as a passive personality. That's what we're picking up. Thank you. Okay. As a passive personality, please note, everything depended on what people thought of him, rising as he did from a lower social milieu to a prestigious one. Kepler's persona was all veneer, all show, a surface self, an empty suit. His biographer, Dr. Keith Abloh, calls it, quote, the armor of his false self, end quote. Deceiving spirits spoke to Kepler, urging him as he got in his car to kill himself in an accident. The so-called hallucination also commanded him to commit vehicular homicide. 2 tragic deaths did result. He felt possessed. And a lot of times what happens too, depending on what state of mind you are at, and spiritually, some spirits engraft upon you Like, not on purpose. It's just because what was going on in you just drew them, and they were close by, and they got engrafted onto you by mistake, and they didn't want to be there, and they don't know how to get themselves loose, which is why a lot of times these spirits have you to try to commit suicide, because that's the only way they can get free from you, right? And if somebody else don't catch and realize what's happening and help you get delivered and cut this spirit off of you, so to speak, that spirit will obsess you to kill yourself, right? And like I said, that's the only way they can get free, because now it no longer has flesh to engraft onto, and now his spirit is released, but also the spirit of the mortal is released as well, right? So now you added another spirit in chaos. Okay. Deceiving spirits spoke to Kepler, urging him as he got in his car to kill himself in an accident. The so-called hallucination also commanded him to commit vehicular homicide. 2 tragic deaths did result. He felt possessed. Quote, it was as if the car was being driven by someone else, end quote. He was told to, quote, hit and run, end quote. Said Kepler, quote, I felt like it was a duty to perform, and I performed it, end quote. Abloh, 1994, page 67, 31, 37, 52, 41, 77, 89, and 10. And after we read this too, he said, I felt like it was a duty to perform, and I performed it. There was an asterisk, and this is where we went to the PTSD. And the asterisk down at the bottom of the page says, Kepler, a Korean war vet, may also have had PTSD. See discussion toward the end of this chapter. And that's where we went and we found the PTSD. And it took us to the end of the day before yesterday. Okay. It was as if the car was being driven by someone else. He was told to hit and run, said Kepler. I felt like it was a duty to perform, and I performed it. Abloh, 1994, page 67, 31, 37, 52, 41, 77, 89, and 10. But who but a pliable patsy would obey such a command? Ken Bianchi, California's hillside strangler, 10 murders in 1977 through 78, also attempted suicide twice while in prison. Patterns of abeyance. Remember, abeyance is when you mentally check out of your own body, and it's like, hey, is anybody home? Hey, like you literally go off somewhere in la la land. When you put yourself, or you allow your spirit to go into abeyance or into the sunken place, spirits that are hovering close by that say, hey, look, y'all, I found an empty house. Let's go, empty vehicle. Let's go. We can be reincarnated. We can get back into this life. That's what happens, right? I know, Kevin. Ken Bianchi, California's hillside strangler, 10 murders in 1977 through 78, also attempted suicide twice while in prison. Patterns of abeyance are striking in the case history of this disarming con man, quote, oozing sincerity, end quote, whose friends were, quote, certain he was capable of violence, end quote. Nevertheless, his lost time or amnesic periods, I can't envision myself killing anybody, and the blank spots in my life, as well as his petit mal seizures, which were not epilepsy, see introduction, and massive dissociation, are well-known signs of a captured self. O'Brien, 1985, pages 260 to 261, 156 to 157. Ken's abeyant self also manifested in incontinence, quote, trouble concentrating, arrested development, learning problems, and immaturity or irresponsibility. Plus denial. Ken was in total denial about his mentally disturbed mother's cruelty. In addition to beatings, she had punished him by putting his hands over the gas burner. And after, in addition to beatings, there's like this little cross. And the cross at the bottom says, the beatings, it seemed, were for things done by Steve, his alter ego, not Kevin. Steve said he could come into my body, do terrible things, and then leave me to take the blame. That's like me when I was talking about when you get demon possessed, this body running up all these tickets and running all these lights, committing all these crimes in your name, in your car, and then like, all right, B, I'm heading to Oklahoma. I give you a call back, bye. I'm out, right? Because the cops coming. And then you wake up, you come out of bed, it's like, oh my God, wait, I didn't kill anybody. What are you doing? Help! I didn't. And we got you. No, my G, look, let's roll the tape. That's you. What? No, I did it. Yeah. Same clothes. Yeah, that's me. No, what happened? Can you play it from the beginning? And you watching it like a movie. Like, what in the world? So this happened to him because of his mom, right? So it was trauma. He became a psychopath because of early abuse by his very own mother. Somebody who should have been loving and caring for him, right? No. He was completely violated in every which way. And as he grew older and having these blackout moments, going into that sunken place when his mom would beat him and do these things, other altars, other spirits came and took over. All right, you go ahead and sit back there. We'll handle this right now, right? This is how he became a psychopath. Plus denial, Ken was in total denial about his mentally disturbed mother's cruelty. In addition to beatings, she had punished him by putting his hands over the gas burner. She dominated both her husband and her son. It is most interesting that Kevin's alter personality, named Steve, hated Ken's mom and hated Ken for not standing up to her for being such a nice guy. Another alter was little Billy, a frightened 9-year-old. It was Steve who urged Ken to commit suicide, but the law, for its own reasons, does not recognize MPD or multiple personality disorder, or even the amnesic episodes so common amongst such offenders. Be that as it may, both doctors John Watkins and Ralph Ellison did diagnose MPD, multiple personality disorder, with a violent alter. In Watkins' words, Ken is a true and very complete MP, multiple personality. However, legal precedent doesn't know really how to deal with such a case. O'Brien, 1985, page 261. What we're learning about in Oahspe, we're dealing with here in the field. It's like the Ashars out there. Listen, this is happening here. Jehovah Creator. And Jehovah goes to God. Listen. This is happening over here. They out there calling for me. You should be informed. Get some of your most skilled people to get out there and help them, right? But not with the Ashars, is with the guardian angels. Not with the Ashars here. The Ashars are here. The guardian angels to mortals. The Asaphs are the ones who are helping those who have already died, right? So the Ashars got you here. The Asaphs got you when you're born into the spirit realm. But we can see this, right? So now it's like creators like, okay, let's get some skilled people, right? So now we got the psychologists coming in there being trained ever so slightly. But more so than a psychologist, they can get all the data and stuff that they need from the court systems, all this, assign them to this psychologist or whatever. But the psychologists should also, those who go into these positions should be full of the Creator's light. They should be children of the light. And they would be prepared doubly on both sides to be able to take all the physical evidence and all this stuff, all the tests that the doctors are doing, all this data, and you should be endowed with the voice of the Creator, right? So you can go through and help these people get delivered. Instead of, he's a lost case, give him back to the state, and the state be like, lock him up over there in the crazy house, give him medicine, leave him over there, or if the crimes is too bad, send him to the electric chair. They don't do the electric. Some places, I don't know. Do they still do the electric chair? Or they do lethal injection, right? Some places still got the death penalty. But that's how they doing it. And creators like, whoa. Let's get to the bottom of these problems. Let's identify the traumas, how they became psychotic people. And let's look at all the multiples that have been grafted upon these people. Let's set them free. Let's help them heal the flesh. We'll also help them heal the spirit. You know, all of these things, right? Pay attention to it. Go look into some of these things that we got that we can see. This in, you can Google it. Google it. Listen. Hold on. Jeremiah, turn it down a little bit. Who yet? I can go for like another 10, 15 minutes before I got to close it. Okay. Let's go back to the bottom of page 58. Plus denial, Ken was also in total denial about his mentally disturbed mother's cruelty. In addition to beatings, she had punished him by putting his hands over the gas burner. She dominated both her husband and her son. It is most interesting that Ken's alter personality, named Steve, hated Ken's mom and hated Ken for not standing up to her and for being such a nice guy. Another alter was little Billy, a frightened 9-year-old. It was Steve who urged Ken to commit suicide. But the law, for its own reasons, does not recognize MPD, multiple personality disorder, or even the amnesic episodes so common among such offenders. Be that as it may, both doctors John Watkins and Ralph Ellison did diagnose MPD with a violent alter. In Watkins' words, Ken is a true and very complete MP, multiple personality. However, legal precedent doesn't know really how to deal with such a case. O'Brien, 1985, page 261. Elijah said, this would help a lot to what's actually mentally. It really does. Look, Elijah, look, we talked about the movie Split. Matter of fact, I shared the clip of Split a couple days ago if you want the community section. Right? We talked about that. Split is a perfect example of what we're talking. It's in perfect movie form. If y'all haven't seen Split, go watch Split. Right? Go watch it. It's really, really good. Okay. Ken himself struggled for an explanation. Quote, I am not a normal person. There's got to be a reason why I lie. There's got to be a reason why I steal. There's got to be a reason for some of the things I've done, end quote. Yeah, bro, you've been put into the sunken place. And other people driving your car around here, catching all these tickets in your name. Now you left to deal with the masses. And you about to go to the electric chair, buddy.
And I'll do it proudly. They're going to make it burn into their brain. Oh, he done messed up.
O'Brien, 1985, page 157. There is a reason. Quote, our knowledge of the psychodynamic roots of violence has barely scratched the surface. End quote. Candace DeLong, FBI profiler. Quote, there's often a pretty clear logic behind madness. End quote. Joe Nesbo, the snowman. Yeah, right? Split, right, Prince? Yep, y'all go watch it. As we go on, breaking this logic down to its elements, we will zoom in on the clues, diagnostic clues that can alert us to the devastation of psyche. Ken Biachi exhibited several of them, including migraines, nightmare, head injury in childhood, phobias, logorrhea. Logorrhea is nonstop speaking, right? Or diarrhea of the mouth. This is logorrhea, the medical term, logorrhea, nonstop speaking. One more clue, exposure to pain and death. Ken worked for 2 years as an ambulance tech. In a different case, another emergency medical technician came to Dr. M. Gibson with intense suicidal thoughts and depression. I saw several entities around him that had died by suicide. They were entreating him to join them. Whew. And after entreating him to join them, there's an asterisk. And it says, the asterisk at the bottom says, similar entreaties in the literature include Susie Smith's 1970B, page 154, report on an acquaintance bothered by an external entity who began to talk to her in her mind. He told her he loved her and wanted her with him, that he would make her kill herself so that she would be in his sphere.
Wow.
Yeah. right? So if y'all ever,
Sound like insecurity.
y'all got to be careful, because things like this, you sometimes you'll be going by your day and be like, whoa, where did that thought come from? Probably from a Jews just hanging around you, my G. Figure it out. But a lot of them thoughts that people be getting, especially when they go to take their own lives, those are not their thoughts. But because they're not strong enough in spirit, a lot of times they succumb to those thoughts that they think belong to them. And it's not really, some of them know that it's not them, but some don't know that it's not them. Like children, sometimes they aren't able to decipher, right, the voices that they hear. Now, some are, but some aren't. They just thinking it's their own thoughts and they just go to do stuff, right? Some of these people, they realize, oh man, what is going on with me? I really seem like I got bipolar something. Oh, yeah. 1 minute I'm fine, then it's like this. He said, and a lot of them, they feel like the shift and change in their body. Let me tell you something. If you starting to feel that way, like I always say, the quickest way, at least even if you need some medical help, if you had a problem or trouble getting some medical help right away, the thing that will help you the quickest, first of all, crowd to the Father, crowd to Creator, and you need to fast. Fast from everything. Fast not just from food, but from social media, everything that could be given an open door to whatever spirit is engrafting upon you for substance. Stop it all. Like, stop it. That's why when people go to get detox, they are cut away, they're moved away from everything that like they're separated from the drugs, right? When they're separated from the drugs, they can't put the drugs in their body, and they're detoxing. Sometimes it's coming out their skin, their pores, and the Essenes Gospel of Peace talks about this while fasting, and it calls it demons coming out of your body, right? Sometimes you throw it up. We're not even gonna get into that in churches. Them having you throwing up in buckets. Some of that is foolishness. But sometimes you go through this process of cleansing and sick and all of this stuff happening. You are literally getting rid of demons. Demons in your are jujas, those spirits who have gone so far down that they're completely dark. They forgot that they were once human. That's how you get rid of them. You have to starve them from eating the foods and all of the sustenance that they're gaining from your free and lavish lifestyle. Stop it all. Like, stop it all, right? Listen, when I say all day yesterday, I had it playing in my ear while I was listening to Essenes Gospel of Peace and this whole fasting part. And I love the deep detail of it and how cleansing yourself out. And as you cleanse yourself out, the Father's angels, they come and they help you be stronger and stronger. And as you wash your body out and cleanse yourself up, it's like a good mother getting you clean and ready for the presence of the Father. You can't even begin to walk and do the work of your Father until you are cleaned up. You're not going to be able to sustain it. You're not allowed into those places filthy and dirty. Y'all, listen, I know, Jamia, the connections are amazing with all of this stuff. Like, all of this should be read together. Like, if you got the Bible and you don't want to put the Bible down, I ain't saying put down the Bible, but add Oahspe to it, right? And bring some clarity to what it is you're reading and who those particular gods and lords are, right? But also, I'm telling you, the stuff I'm reading, bring the stuff in, because it's giving you a clearer picture as you walk and you can see things, right? It's all within our grasp, so we can take it. And especially the Essenes Gospel of Peace, that's just another whole level. And once you walk through that, and I've been working on a fasted lifestyle for years, trying to really get it down pat, right? Smaller ones here and there, and every so often I do a longer one. But you can do it for spiritual reasons, but sometimes people just need to do it for physical reasons to deliver their own selves, right? Y'all. And once you start the process of fasting, take it in small steps, you become freer and freer, right? Your mind is cleared. Your body is cleared. It begins to be restored, right? Your spiritual senses. Now I understand why when I fast, my spiritual senses are heightened, right? Because not only is my body being restored, but my spirit is being restored, which makes the connections to the Father and his host a whole lot clearer, which is why my dreams And all my visions and stuff, they amplify while I'm fasting, just boom, 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 boom. I'm like, wait a minute, but now I'm able to put it together why that happens when I fast, by going through this stuff and reading through these scenes, gospel of peace. Man, if they had just left their scenes, gospel of peace, made all that the New Testament, a lot of the stuff they wouldn't be getting all chopped and screwed that Jesus said, right? Or Joshua, whatever you want to call it, right? It is so good. I cannot stress that enough. I'll be super excited when we get there. Okay, let me finish this because I got a few more minutes and I got to close this out. All right. Okay. Hold on. Let me go back. A couple sentences. Page 59 at the bottom. One more clue. Exposure to pain and death. Ken worked for 2 years as an ambulance tech. In a different case, another emergency medical technician came to Dr. M. Gibson with, quote, intense suicidal thoughts and depression. I saw several entities around him that had died by suicide. They were entreating him to join them. I told him what I saw, and he was shocked. Finally, we persuaded the entities to leave. Gibson, 2008, page 8. Dr. Kapler, we remember, was an anesthesiologist. Here, too, were hidden occupational hazards. Quote, when a patient has been given a general anesthetic for a surgical operation, he may find upon resuming consciousness that he has one or more extra personalities on board. Pain will also drive out a possessing spirit. Many dentists become possessed. The pain induced by the drilling clears the patient, but results in the spirit finding a new home with the dentist. When I was younger, just a bad little kid, my mama noticed funny things I did, like shooting puppies with the BB gun. I poisoned guppets when I was done. I found a pussycat, a bashed his head. That's what my mama said.
If y'all don't know that, y'all uncultured.
What did she say? Hold on, wait. Because this just came to mind. She said, my boy, I think someday you'll find a way to make your natural tendencies pay. You'll be a dentist, be a dentist. That's a Little Shop of Horrors, right? They had a marathon going on the other night, probably about a week ago, with the Little Shop of Horrors. It played, when I say it played over and over, like all night long. And I watched it like 3 times. I was keeping my husband up singing all the songs and stuff. He was cracking up at first. He said, you really remember all these songs? I said, I absolutely do. But listen, this just reminded me of that, right? Dude, the dentist, I forget his real name. But anyway, Steve Martin, right? He was the dentist that was beating on Audrey, right? Audrey was his girlfriend, but dude was a psychopath. And he became a dentist, right? He was literally possessed, right? He beat the brakes off of Audrey to the plant Seymour. Well, he overdosed on his own gas. I'm going to need some gas for this, right? And he would sedate himself before he would actually perform work on his patients. He was all kinds of demon possessed, so to speak, right? But if y'all haven't seen Little Shop of Horrors, watch Little Shop of Horrors. This is just a fun one today. And pay attention to some of the spiritual things that they have in that, because it's amazing now that I think about it. Yeah, go watch that when you get a chance. I'll post a clip of it, right? Matter of fact, I'm going to post a clip of that part right there when he was doing that song, what I was just singing, and you will see. Listen. So whenever, like, if the spirit doesn't graft upon you, if you're, like I said, if your body is breaking down and all that stuff, they trying to find a new home to go live in. Like, we can't live in this house no more. We done ran it into the ground, right? They didn't obsess you to constantly overeat and take all these drugs so they can subsist on the atmospheric portion of it. But when your body is broken down and ready to go to the grave, like, all right, boys, we got to get up out of here. This one, they got about 2 days to live. Scope out over there. Or we got to go see the doctor. They going to try and do surgery? Oh, that's going to be the best time for us to get out of here, right? Put them under sedate them so we can just go. But it's going to need to be somebody in the room. Otherwise, if we can't find nobody in the room, at least we'll be in the hospital. And we can find somebody in the hospital, which is why a lot of people in the hospital, when they go in there, different things start happening to them as well. They come out sometimes with multiple disorders, right? If people already, we ain't going to get into it, but listen. Quote, on page 60, quote, when a patient has been given a general anesthetic for a surgical operation, he may find upon resuming consciousness that he has one or more extra personalities on board. Pain will also drive out a possessing spirit. Many dentists become possessed. The pain induced by the drilling clears the patient, but results in the spirit finding a new home with the dentist. The two professions having the highest suicide rate are the dentist and psychiatrist. The dentist with his drills and the psychiatrist using the electrode for shock treatment, and these possessing spirits often urge their host to commit suicide. End quote. Eugene Morey, Exorcism. Let me read. I think I'm going to read to the end of page 62 and we'll pause. Even so, it is not the happy, well-adjusted dentist or the happy psychiatrist who succumbs to the possessing spirit, but the unhappy or depressed one. Later on, we will take a closer look at the factors that make a person a likely target for entity obsession. And see why it's good to just have a positive outlook on everything in life? Oh, she's too happy. Just stay away from her house. She wake up singing songs in the morning. No, we need somebody a lot worse than her. Look. Even so, it is not the happy, well-adjusted dentist or the happy psychiatrist who succumbs to the possessing spirit, but the unhappy or depressed one. Later on, we will take a closer look at the factors that make a person a likely target for entity obsession. But for now, let's consider the question of depression. Unaware that he is attracting a morbid influence with his depressed thoughts or hidden feelings of self-loathing, such a person may become an easy mark for parasitic entities. Some, though are aware, quote, I have been aware of other persons in me, end quote, wrote novelist Jack London of suicide in The Star Rover. Another author, William Styron, himself a depressive, wrote extensively about other writers and artists prone to depression, quote, which in its graver manifestations take upward of 20% of its victims by way of suicide. Just a few of these fallen artists, all modern, make up a sad but scintillant roll call. Hart Crane, Vincent van Gogh, Virginia Woolf, Arshile Gorky, Caesar Pavese, Roman Gary, Vachel Lindsay, Sylvia Plath, Henry D. Montherlant, Mark Rothko, John Berryman, Jack London, Ernest Hemingway, William Inge, Diane Arbus. Styron, 1990, page 35. And we could add a whole host of other names to this list from our generation that we've seen, right? The wording of Styron's description of his own severe depression gives us pause. He calls it, quote, a trance, emphasis added on trance. And after trance, there's an asterisk at the bottom says, every suicide attempt by G, a Swiss girl, was made while she was in a trance. Natalia Osjord, 1988, page 73. So every time this particular person tried to commit suicide, her native spirit was in abeyance. The altar was trying to get the body to commit suicide, right? And she was not even aware. The wording of Styron's description of his own severe depression gives us pause. He calls it, quote, a trance, emphasis added, of supreme discomfort, helpless stupor, unfocused dread, end quote. Styron's cryptic phrasing seems to correspond to that of another artist, the actress Patty Duke. Quote, most of the time, I didn't know why I was depressed, end quote. In other words, the enigmatic play of depression suggests an unseen cause, or as Duke put it, quote, there is something, I don't know what the name of it is, that takes over, and there isn't anything you could have done, end quote. She adds, quote, I can't even remember how many times I tried to kill myself. A couple of times I tried to jump out of a moving car, end quote. Duke and Hodgman, 1992, pages 10 to 11 and page 111. That something that takes over must be a product of ASC, or ASC is altered states of consciousness. Prone to dissociative states, Duke experienced dramatic mood swings, bipolar, violent outbursts, obsession, suicidal urges, in parentheses it has, quote, demons inside me, precognitions, phobia, and OBEs. Remember, OBE is out-of-body experience. OBEs, Betsy, another manic depressive who tried to kill herself with pills, averred, quote, when I was depressed, I felt like I was looking at myself from the outside, end quote. Duke and Hodgman, 1992, page 84 to 85. All this brings us full circle on abeyance self, the involuntary OBE, easily inviting PSI effects. Hey, babe.
Today? Oh, okay, cool. Hey, man.
Starts at 8 o'clock, 5 minutes.
What are you doing? Get out of here, boy.
Online class,
Today?
5 minutes.
Oh, that's
online
right.
on
It's
Thursday.
virtual. Yeah, right.
Why
Okay.
you do it here? Do it up there.
I don't have nowhere to properly sit. I need somewhere where I can stay up.
Go in the dining room, John.
Yeah,
Them seats are them
Yeah,
chairs
go in
are
the dining
coming.
room.
Go in there.
Yeah. Oh, you should have took one of them desks up to your room with a chair. So, all right. Yeah, because I'm
Don't go to
loud. And
sleep.
you
Just
gonna
stay
have to.
focused that you don't go to sleep.
Yeah, because your class is being recorded.
Right.
Don't let the teacher catch you dozing.
On the third day in school, that's not going to be a good look, you know? Why you have a good background? You acting like you're in a doggone meeting. You go background, your background be that dog on the side of that truck.
Okay, y'all. But,
Shoot.
okay. Hold on. Let me
What
finish
you
this
talking
paragraph. Hold on. And then we'll go ahead and end this.
Oh, you good.
Okay. All of this, and we're at the bottom, the last paragraph of page 61. All of this brings us full circle on abeyance self, the involuntary OBE, easily inviting PSI effects like foreknowledge and even stirring inspiration. An abundance of talent, creativity is definitely one perk amongst those who are, quote, open, end quote. Charismatic entertainers are blessed with it, but the price may be exorbitant. Writing about actor Robin Williams' suicide, his friend Dick Cavett asked, quote, why does the gift for great performance seem to go hand in hand with unshakable depression? End quote. Cavett, 2014, page 54. It is in their openness that we will find the answer to that question, not in brain chemistry. Cavett, like so many who hoped for a medical breakthrough, speculates that, quote, there may be something in the brain chemistry of the performer that produces this woeful result. Will some chemical link be found? End quote. Well, okay, certain links are known. Low levels of serotonin, for example, have been found in the autopsied brains of some suicides as well as in depressives and those with impulse disorders. Mind and body work together. So the question really is the serotonin level a cause or an effect of depression? The, quote, black dog, end quote, of depression, Winston Churchill's phrase, is so potent and unremitting that people have come to regard its cause as physical, like, say, diabetes or asthma. Depression is a chemical imbalance in the brain, say medical experts, but we are also told The science of understanding the human brain is still in its infancy. It is very difficult to make good mental health. It is very difficult to make good mental health diagnosis. The best experts in the world have trouble in this area. End quote. Su.ic.idal 2013, page 224 to 225. Sure, they have trouble. The deeper they delve into the physical for answers about the mind, the further they stray from the real but intangible realm of psyche. Out and out psychic sensitives like Darren Owens, who are open to the invisibles and their negative ambience, may not know exactly where the influence is coming from, but they can feel it. Darren, whose psychism probably began at birth, had suicidal impulses at age 15. He prayed to God for understanding. Quote, God, listen, I don't know what's going on. Why am I so different? Why do these weird things happen to me? I mean it, God. I'm going to kill myself. Show me your truth. End quote. He planned an overdose of pills. Owens, 2006, page 14. Like Darren, many autistic children are exquisitely sensitive. ASCs, or altered states of consciousness, and paranormal incidents are often second nature. Prophetic dreams, mind reading, foreknowledge, communing with angels, hyperesthesia, crisis telepathy. Some of these children are ghost seers. The hovering spirit, for some reason, is often a deceased grandfather. William Stillman, author and autism advocate, has stressed that it is not unusual for many young adults with autism or Asperger's to reach the dark place and entertain suicidal thoughts. Other folks simply experimenting with ASCs or altered states of consciousness have inadvertently landed in that dark place. Sitting in a circle, seance, a psychic medium is suddenly seized with a desire to rush away from the rapids and throw myself into the Cuyahoga River. End quote. Hold on. I didn't say quote. Let me read it over. Sitting in a circle, a seance, a psychic medium is suddenly, quote, seized with a desire to rush away to the rapids and throw myself into the Cuyahoga River, end quote. Fodor, 1966, page 266. Even seemingly benign pursuits like transcendental meditation and other mind-altering techniques of the New Age have been known to trigger, quote, bizarre disturbances, bad trips, psychosis, and suicide, end quote. And you will see some of that with people talking about their experiences, and they tell you, oh my gosh, I didn't. What you say? Okay, you should be in your room. Hey, look, let me hurry up. Because I got a little bit more time to play with. And he decided to get on his live class down here while I'm talking.
You can't mute?
Yeah, he can mute. You can mute to your teacher.
What time you end,
I'm about to end right now. Dang. Look.
That's how she really act. Y'all should have seen yesterday, boy. It was comedy show.
Listen.
What she don't
Look, I forgot what I was about to say. What I was about to say. Darn it, what was I about to say, y'all? Hold on. Oh, I know what I was about to say. If you go on YouTube and you look at some people dabbling into like meditation and stuff like, look, they go about it the wrong way, right? And what I've noticed is, like, if you aren't in the pursuit of righteousness, sometimes and when I say righteousness, I mean really trying to understand the truth, and you're seeking the Father, like, Father, help me, whatever, right? Now, in my particular path, I didn't go searching going into the New Age, but as I was growing, the more I was praying and reading through stuff, it was the Father that was leading me. I want you to go look at this. I was like, oh no, that's new, and I was like, nope, not going there, not doing it, absolutely not. I was telling the Father no. He was like, I need you to see something over here, this, and this is how this lines up, and this is what's happened over here. Here's how they get off. So when you are truly in pursuit of the Father and understanding truth, he will lead you to certain places and help you pull out some things to help you grow spiritually, but you will also begin to see where people go wrong. So you will see on YouTube sometimes a lot of people that's come in, they say, you know what, I done came out of the new age, it's wrong, and this and this and that, and I got attacked over here and there. It would lead me to think that when they were approaching it, they were going about it in the wrong way, not fully seeking the Father. They were doing something else. It was like and I like to use the word, they were trying to take shortcuts to the spiritual realm without actually going through the process of cleansing their own selves, like literally doing the work on you, your filthy, nasty attitude, right? How you treat people without doing that self-work, cleaning yourself up and really changing yourself. And you just give me the goodies from the spiritual realm so I can operate here. And they want to misuse things like the 7 sons of Sceva. Paul, I know. Jesus, I know. But who are you, right? They go about it in the wrong way. So that's why you will see a lot of these videos on YouTube, and they're giving you their scary experiences of what's happened. When they went and tapped into something, they tried to go in illegally. But if you're walking with the Father will guide you. And if it's something over here that you need, he'll specifically point it out to you. And just go here, I'm going to show you what you need. This is what you need to understand about this. But while you're growing, you'll also learn how to help set your brethren and your sister free, right? And that's been the path that he's been leading me on. I haven't been jumping into the new age. I was like, no, I'm not going there. Haven't you heard the scary stories? You know I don't do scary. Listen, girl, calm down. I got you. Just go get this right there, right? Y'all done been through here. Y'all done seen me since my Jesus Christ days. But you'll notice the process and the progress, right? Okay. All right, y'all. Yeah, we gotta been hanging out in the background, taking a hey girl, hey. All right, but we gotta pause right here. And we're gonna have to fix this. Well, normally during the week I won't be going this long, but I got a little bit more time to play with today. And on those days, I'll go a little bit longer if I can. But I didn't realize he was trying to tap into his class online right behind me. And I can't be loud. All right, so I respect his class. Because they're going to have to respect mine on Saturdays, except for this Saturday, I got to actually go to campus. But anyway, let's pause right here. Let me bring my mark over. We'll come back. I'll pause. We'll go back here, like, where it says, like, Darren and many autistic children. We'll start back right here. All right, let me make my mark there. Page 62. Okay, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out today. It is Thursday, November the 10th, 2022, day 259 of year 4, reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1,278. Today we read pages 16 through 19 in Oahspe, book of Sethantes, and then we hopped over here to the field guide to the spirit world, pages 58 through 62. We just finished reading. We'll pick back up here tomorrow. And that's it, beautiful people. I'm gonna share that clip from. I'm gonna share a split again, and I'm gonna also share the clip from Little Shop of Horrors. Babe, we started talking about the dentist in here, and I told him about the Little Shop of Horrors marathon that was going on the other night, and I was up singing.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. All right, so I love y'all. Father, we thank you for the earth and all the beautiful and good things she bears for your children. All right, and the lessons that she teach. All right, y'all. I love y'all. I see y'all back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 6:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.